In the previous video, we talked about Pearson correlation coefficient. Here we're going to be talking about Spearman correlation, which is also called the Spearman rank correlation. So like you can see, the word rank itself suggests that this correlation is going to be something around ranking, right? So yeah, you're right. If you're guessing something like that, then you're absolutely right. So before we proceed, let me just give you a detail what all we are going to cover. So in this we will be looking at how to find the correlation of distinct values in ranking, how to find the correlation if ranks have duplicate values, right? And then at the end we would have a comparative discussion with Pearson correlation, and we would make some analytical conclusion when to use which sort of correlation, right? And what are the advantages and disadvantages of it. So without wasting the time, let's proceed further. So here I will start with the calculation. How do we calculate the rank correlation, Spearman rank correlation, right? So for that, let's take the same example which we have been discussing. Here we have two variables, GDP and Nifty. So first thing which we're gonna do is do the ranking of values available in each of these variable. For example, let's take first GDP. So if you take GDP and if you do the ranking, so this is what we will get. It's on you. For example, if you see over here, I took the smallest value and I gave it the rank number 1, and I took the highest value and I gave it to the rank last rank. But it could be other way as well. If you want, you can give rank number 1 to 9 and rank number 6 to the lowest value as well. It can be either way, but make sure whatever thing you are applying on the first variable, same thing needs to be applied on second variable as well. So here I'm assigning rank number 1 to the lowest value. Same thing I will do in Nifty as well. So if I do the ranking for Nifty, this is what I get. Now once we are done with ranking both of these two variables, what we're going to do is find the difference between these two ranks. Remember, we are not finding the difference between GDP and Nifty. We are finding the difference between their rank. Okay, so let's say here the rank was 2 and here the rank was 1 for the first entry. The difference comes to 1. Here the rank was 1, but here the rank was 2. Difference comes to -1. Yes, you're right. Now the next thing which comes in, doing the square of this differences. Okay, whatever difference we find on rank, we will just make a square of that. So if you take 1 and if you do a square of that, you're gonna get 1. If you take -1 and you do the square of that, you're gonna get 1. Right? So if you do the square of any negative value, you get a positive value. Then once you are done with this particular thing, then almost 50% of your work is done, and this seems to be pretty simple, right? You don't have to be confused. Then after that, you got to apply this particular formula. Now let's understand each element of this particular formula. So this P like symbol is nothing, it represents Spearman's rank correlation coefficient. Wherever you see this kind of symbol, you can simply understand that here we are finding this Spearman's correlation. Next it comes DI. DI is nothing but difference between the two ranks of each observation, which means it is simply referring to this particular variable, right, where we got the difference. Now here it says N, which is number of observation. How many records do we have in this particular data set? So how many records do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 records, right? So value for N will be 6. Now let's try to impute our value in this formula, right? So here we have this formula. Now if I have to impute the value into this, I'm going to keep 1 as it is, then minus, and then 6 will remain as it is. This particular part, this E like symbol, it says it's the summation of D square. What DI square is? DI square is, DI is nothing but this difference, and square of it is nothing but this particular column. So this particular patch is simply asking you to sum this particular column. So if I do a sum of this, it will come to 4, right? And at the bottom as denominator, what is it that we have? It is asking to find the n, and we just found that was 6. That means we have 6 observation, and again n, so square of that and then minus 1. So what we get over here is 1 minus 24 divided by 6 into 36 minus 1, which is 1 minus again 24 divided by 6 into 35. All right, and if you just do this, here you're gonna get 4, and if you solve all these things, you're gonna get the value 0.88. I'll just write it like this, right? So this is the Spearman correlation coefficient for this particular two variables, right? GDP and Nifty. So this is pretty simple. All that you need to do is find the rank for both of the variable, then find the difference between both of these two rank, and then get their square value and sum them up, multiply it by 6 and then divide it with this particular thing. You will get the answer. Let me show you how can you find that in Python very quickly in no time. Let's say here we have that particular data. This is the same data which we had over there, right? Now for df2 we just need to find the correlation. So what we can do is df2 dot cor. I will simply say cor, and in that I need to use the method nothing but Spearman, and then you see the magic. You see here you are getting 0.7164. there seem to be slight difference. All right, so I got it why it's different. Now this will be fixed quickly because the data seem to be different, and this will be fixed quickly. Now if you see 0.885714, so here what I found was just 2 decimal place, and here it is giving you the complete one, right? So you see 0.885714 is the correlation, Spearman rank correlation coefficient. We can also take it to 0.88. Now moving forward, what we're gonna do is we're gonna discuss about correlation for duplicate values. What does that mean? For example, if you see these two variables here in GDP, we have 4 over here as well and 4 over here as well. Same in Nifty, if you see we have 1100 over here as well and here as well. Same thing if you see we have 1500 here and here. So if you are going to assign a rank to each of the element, how would you decide what rank to give to this particular value and what rank to give to this particular value? So that's something which we're going to discuss in the next video. Stay tuned and we will just discuss it in detail in the next video. Until then, happy learning. Wish you very all the best.